Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into attachment theory. It's this incredible force that, believe it or not, quietly shapes how we connect, how we love, and really how we see the entire world right from our very first moments. So, let me start with a question for you. What do you think is the single most powerful bond in human life? I mean, the one that literally sets the stage, the blueprint for who you become, how you love, and how you connect with pretty much everyone for the rest of your life.
Well, the answer to that is attachment. And it's so much more than just a warm, fuzzy feeling. Think of it like this invisible, emotional tether that connects us, creating this deep-seated, powerful need to be close to one another, especially between a child and their caregiver. The pioneer of this whole field, a guy named John Bowlby, he put it perfectly. He called it a lasting psychological connectedness. It really is the foundation that every other relationship we ever have will be built on.
But why? Why did this bond evolve to be so incredibly powerful? It's not just about getting hugs. It's about something way, way more primal than that. For a completely helpless infant, this bond comes down to one simple, brutal fact: survival. It's basically an evolutionary masterstroke. This powerful drive keeps a baby close to its caregiver, and that guarantees food, protection from danger, and all the comfort it needs to actually thrive. And get this, nature actually gives infants a whole toolkit for connection, right from the moment they're born. Crying, smiling, that surprisingly strong little hand grasp. These aren't just random actions. They are hardwired, innate behaviors designed for one purpose: to capture a caregiver's attention and keep them close. But a bond this big, this life-altering, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's not like flipping a switch. It actually develops in 4 pretty predictable phases, which we can see right here. So you can see how it all progresses. At first, an infant will signal to literally anyone who will listen, but pretty quickly that starts to change. They begin showing a real preference for familiar faces, and then that deepens into this powerful, focused bond with a primary caregiver. That's when you see that classic separation anxiety really kick in. And then finally, they start to understand that their caregiver comes and goes, and they can form a real two-way relationship. Okay, so if this bond is so fundamental, how do we actually observe it? How can we see these invisible emotional patterns in action? Well, that's where a totally groundbreaking experiment comes into play. So this was the huge challenge that psychologist Mary Ainsworth decided to take on. She wanted to go beyond just the theory. She wanted to find a way to scientifically measure and categorize the quality of these attachment bonds. And her solution? It was both simple and absolutely ingenious. She called it the strange situation. It was just a simple series of separations and reunions between a parent and a child. But here is the genius part of it. Ainsworth realized the most revealing moments weren't when the parent left the room. No, they were when the parent came back. The child's reaction in that moment of reunion, that told the entire story of their bond. And those reunions revealed 4 really distinct patterns. A securely attached child. They'd be upset when the parent left, but they were easily soothed when they came back. That's really the goal, and it comes from responsive care. Then you had the avoidant child, who almost acted indifferent, a sign of often unresponsive care. The resistant child was clingy, got furious when the parent left, and was then really hard to comfort when they returned, which pointed to inconsistent care. And finally, the disorganized style, where kids just show these confused, contradictory behaviors, a sign of deep insecurity. And just to give you some context here, that resistant style is actually the least common of the main types. It's seen in about 7 to 15% of kids. Okay, so we have these patterns. They form when we're babies, but why do they matter so much later on? Well, the answer is that these early bonds, they don't stay in the nursery. They follow us for the rest of our lives. And this is why this stuff matters so much. I mean, the research is incredibly clear on the long-term impact. Having a secure attachment in infancy is a powerful predictor of having stronger self-esteem, better social skills, and the ability to form healthy, lasting adult relationships.
But on the other side, insecure attachment can lead to a whole host of difficulties, everything from lower self-esteem to major struggles with trust and managing emotions. And that connection extends directly to our mental health. You can think of secure attachment as a kind of protective factor. It builds resilience and it lowers the risk for things like depression and anxiety. On the flip side, insecure attachment can be a risk factor, increasing our vulnerability to both internalizing problems like fear and externalizing ones like aggression. So, how in the world does an infant bond shape an entire life? Well, Bowlby called it the internal working model. It's a great term. Think of it as a mental blueprint. It gets built in childhood, and we use it forever. It's quietly answering two massive questions for us. Am I worthy of love? And can I trust other people? That blueprint goes on to shape every single relationship we have from then on. Which, brings us to our final and probably most personal thought here. If our very first bonds create the blueprint for all of our future connections, what blueprint are you building from?